What is up, everyone? Today we're going to be talking about the general elections coming up in November, and more specifically, we're going to be talking about the RCP Electoral College aggregate because for the first time since becoming the Democrat nominee, Kamala Harris has officially taken the lead in the aggregate for the Electoral College on RCP, and this does have some Republicans a little bit spooked. So we're going to be talking about kind of how realistic some of these polls are. For those of you who don't know, I've done lots of door knocking in the state of Wisconsin. I've talked to thousands of voters across the state, from one end of the state to the other, and we're going to be taking a much closer look at the upper Rust Belt states, but more specifically the state of Wisconsin, because a lot of the polls that are coming out of the state are just not accurate. And with that being said, if you all do enjoy content like this, remember to leave a like on the video, hit that red subscribe button, and smash that notification bell to never miss out on another upload. And with that being said, let's get started with this video. So Kamala Harris is in the lead effectively because she is leading in all of the polls in the three upper Rust Belt states. Now, we're going to take a look at Wisconsin. Now, Wisconsin is generally considered to be the most conservative of the three upper Rust Belt states. And as of right now, Kamala Harris leads by almost 2 percentage points. And one of the reasons she's so far ahead as of right now is because of some outlier polls, like this Bloomberg poll that has her up by +8. Now, like I said before, I've done a lot of work in Wisconsin in the political field, and I'm telling you guys right now, this +8 is completely inaccurate. This is not an accurate pollster whatsoever. That's garbage. I'll say Harris +4 is also garbage. Harris +3 is garbage. And for the record, if some of these polls were out here saying that Trump was up by like 5, I would also say those polls are garbage as well. I'm not biased one way or another. I'm here spitting facts. Now, if you look at the past historical polling data for the state of Wisconsin, just go back 4 years, we can see that the polls haven't exactly had a great track record in places like Wisconsin. Just look at this massive polling error we have here. The aggregate had Joe Biden up by 6.7 percentage points, and he only won by 0.7. So that is a 6-point margin of error, and this is not something that's just unique to 2020. This is also something that happened in 2016. Trump won the state by 0.7 percentage points when the aggregate had Clinton up by 6.5 points. So the data in 2016 was even worse than in 2020. So when you take a look at a lot of the polls that we have now, if they are as awful as they were in the past 8 years, then Trump is actually on track to carry the state of Wisconsin. So if you actually were to give him Wisconsin in this scenario and you give him the other states he's currently leading in, like Georgia and North Carolina, Arizona, and Nevada, Trump is actually already at 270. He's actually a little over 270. And in this scenario, Trump can actually afford to lose Nevada because he is at 272. Kamala Harris could literally win every other state on the map and still fall just short, which goes to show that these upper Rust Belt states are absolutely critical to both candidates. Now, unlike Trump, Kamala Harris actually does have to win all 3 of these upper Rust Belt states to become the next president. Now, she could afford to lose Nevada, but she absolutely cannot afford to lose one of these states. Trump can afford to lose 2 out of 3, and he's still the next president. And out of the 3 upper Rust Belt states, Wisconsin is by far the most right-wing of the 3 upper Rust Belt states. Now, there is an argument to be made for Pennsylvania, and this is something to definitely discuss in another video, that Joe Biden effectively screwed the state over by saying he wasn't going to ban fracking on federal land, then he turned around and did it anyway, and then the economy got really bad. And there is definitely an argument to be made that there could be some buyer's remorse in the state of Pennsylvania, but that's a different topic for another video. Today, we're going to be focusing on Wisconsin. And when you look at Wisconsin, even at a different level, for example, take a look at the county level, Wisconsin's a state that definitely has potential to become more conservative. If you look at a lot of these counties out in the middle of nowhere. I've been to Marinette County. This is a very Republican county. Trump could definitely improve in a place like Marinette. He could definitely improve in a lot of these places like Winnebago and Outagamie County and Brown County. Now, there are some bigger cities here in Outagamie and in Brown County. This is where Green Bay is, and this is where Appleton is. Now, if Trump just improves a little bit more in these two counties, he improves a little bit more across the board, across some of these other counties that are extremely rural, then the state's probably going to go to Trump. And that doesn't even count if he improves in a place like Racine or Kenosha or Waukesha or Ozaki, which he probably will. And that's one of the reasons why Wisconsin is definitely the more conservative of the three upper Rust Belt states. But there's also another thing that is working in Republicans' favor, and that is the city of Milwaukee itself. The largest city in the state has been declining in population. Just look at what the population was back in 1990, even what it was in 2000. Now look at what it is currently. The city has had a lot of people move out, and a lot of these people are moving to other places in the country. Some are relocating to Madison, which is the second largest city in the state. But either way, with so many people leaving Milwaukee, this does put the state in a more precarious situation because Democrats really need to maximize turnout from places like Milwaukee and Madison to actually carry a state like Wisconsin. And if you look back at 2016, Trump actually definitely did perform slightly better across the board. He did pick up places like Door County. He did a little bit better in Outagamie County. And just across the board, Trump did perform a little bit better across the state. And if you look back at 2012, you can see why the state was so solid for the Democrats, because they were winning a lot of these rural counties. They weren't turning out for the GOP. But that has effectively changed, and Wisconsin isn't really the only state where this has happened. Let's take a look at another state that used to be really competitive and isn't anymore because of certain trends that are affecting certain states in certain ways. And that state is Iowa. Just look back at Iowa back in 1992. The state is fairly blue. A lot of these random hole-in-the-wall counties are voting for the Democrat Party. They're voting for Clinton. Now, let's go to 2000. You can see that's starting to change, but there are counties that are relatively competitive that would never be competitive, presently speaking. Now, let's go to 2004. I'm pretty sure Bush won this state narrowly. Yeah, he narrowly won the state of Iowa, but you can see, once again, a lot of these counties aren't as solid for the GOP as they would be now. Then go to 2008, Barack Obama won the state, and then he won it again in 2012. But then look at 2016. This state is completely solid across the board, with an exception of a few cities across the state. And then again in 2020, we're seeing the same thing. So if you look at the trends in Iowa and you apply them to a place like Wisconsin, it is not unreasonable to assume that the state of Wisconsin could have the same exact thing happen to it, especially with Milwaukee losing so much of its population. And as someone who spent a lot of time in Milwaukee, I can tell you all, Milwaukee's not a fun place to live. It's not a fun place to be just because of the rampant crime and the degenerative state of parts of the city, like more specifically the northern parts of Milwaukee. They're really bad. They're awful. They're on par with the south side of Chicago. And as people continue to leave Milwaukee, it's going to force the Democrats into a situation where they have to start appealing to some of these voters in the rural areas. And honestly, at this rate, that's not going to happen. So Wisconsin being in Trump's column is a huge win for him. It means that he can now focus on other parts of the country, like Arizona, Nevada, Georgia, and more. Maybe he even is able to focus on expanding his lead. Just because he's up potentially in Wisconsin doesn't mean he needs to stop there. He needs to focus on winning all three of these upper Rust Belt states. And as of right now, I do think that Trump would win Pennsylvania. I think he has a pretty good chance of winning Nevada. And honestly, out of all these states, I think that Kamala Harris in the Sun Belt probably has the best chance in a state like Georgia, just because of a black turnout. But at the end of the day, if Trump is able to secure these Sunbelt states, and if he's able to secure at least one of these Upper Rust Belt states, then Trump will be the next president, and it would be the effective end of any hope Kamala Harris has of winning this election. And with that being said, guys, I do hope you all enjoyed this video. I hope you all learned something from it. If you did, remember to smash that like button, hit that red subscribe button, click that notification bell to never miss out on another upload. And with that being said, I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day.